Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So just to start out with, a few months ago I never would have imagined that I would be sitting here about to review Terence Hughes fragrances because quite frankly I just wasn't interested in the brand as a whole. The marketing, the presentation, the names of the fragrances, none of it appealed to me at all. I wasn't interested. And then a friend sent me a decant of Slut. And again, I made it clear to him I wasn't interested in even trying it, but he insisted when I received it and sniffed it for the first time. Well, things kind of went downhill from there. And I will explain what I mean by that, as well as give you an overview of Slut, Blood Orange, Ozone, and Neon. That's coming up. Stay tuned. So yeah, upon receiving Slut and sniffing it for the first time, the reason I say that it went downhill from there was that I immediately knew I was in a no-win type of situation because this is exactly the type of scent that I just happen to love. I was expecting something very different just going by the name. In my head, I imagined it being very dirty, very animalic, but in a bad way, like in the barnyard skanky way. Instead, this ended up being actually a very sophisticated throwback scent. It's very reminiscent of a lot of the fragrances that I have back here on my shelves that I grew up with in the 80s and 90s that I absolutely love. These powerhouse fragrances, and that's really what I consider this to be. It's got a very nice, powerful citrus neroli opening to it. There's a lot of sharp white floral in this, just the right amount of sweetness, and then it has kind of like this earthy base that gives it just mad depth. And not only did it remind me of powerhouse fragrances in the matter of the way it smelled, but also in the performance. I mean, holy crap, the multiple days that I wore this, it would have taken quite a few showers to scrub this off entirely. And I'm also a clothes sprayer too, so it lasted on my shirt for days. So for a fragrance that I wanted so badly to hate, I have to say this is really an impressive composition. I'm still not a fan so much of the presentation. I think it's the labeling that kind of gets me, the sticker, the way that it's printed, and also the way that it kind of rolls up on the edge. It doesn't want to stay down. But I did see early this morning that today a rebranding is being revealed by ATH. And so we'll see what that holds in store for the presentation. And that's the thing with these newer indie houses. Something that you have to take into consideration is that there are a lot of growing pains involved. Over a period of time, a lot of changes have to be made, including the branding and the way that the bottles themselves come, the way that they're labeled, that type of thing. So it's really a matter of being able to look past that outward part of things and really focus on the juice. And as far as I'm concerned, this is just, it's a genius composition, and I really look forward to wearing this a lot more in the future. So that being said, let's take a look now at this juice here. This is Blood Orange, and this is probably the one that I've worn the most behind Slut. I picked up this travel atomizer from Max Aroma the same time that I ordered my full bottle of Slut, and ended up with an extra one of these too, which I think is great because I feel like I'm really going to need it before the summer's out because I'm going through this so quickly. But I've really enjoyed wearing Blood Orange for two basic reasons. Number one, finally, a citrus fragrance that lives up to his name. It says Blood Orange. guess what you get? You get blood orange. That's helped along with mandarin orange, with tangerine. So this isn't some like bland, weak blend of citruses that, kind of gets lost in the shuffle because the other notes kind of overshadow it. This is a strong, it's in your face, blood orange. In the dry down, I even get some of that Slut DNA a little bit, which I find fascinating because it seems like that kind of thread runs through a lot of these fragrances that I've tried so far. So I think that's really cool. But two, this has just a little bit of that earthy quality to it, and it borders on just being a little dirty. It doesn't go overboard with it. And then the citrus, it just, what I love is that it retains this nice sharpness to it. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that this has jasmine in it, just like Slut does. So the second reason I love this one so much is, well, I kind of mentioned it a little earlier, this isn't a weak citrus fragrance. I think we've all become accustomed to those citrus fragrances that you spray on and you can only enjoy it for a couple of hours, and then it basically it fades away, it becomes a skin scent, whatever. But that's not the case with this at all. It performs just about as well as Slut does. And then again, if you spray it on your clothes, I mean, that makes it even better. I happen to layer this with a sandalwood mandarin body wash that I have, and it's amazing. So just considering the fact that I am a huge fan of citrus, especially orange, and because of the fact that it performs the way that it does, this beats out any other citrus fragrance that I happen to own currently, or any that I've really tried or smelled in the past. All right, Ozone. I was attracted to Ozone for one main reason, and that was because of the coconut note. I love coconut, and there again, that's just one of those notes. It seems like it's very hard to find it in a fragrance where it ends up being a strong player. And in most, it just doesn't come across as being as strong or maybe as creamy as you would like it to. I love the smell of suntan lotion, but at the same time, I'm not going to wear suntan lotion just for the scent. I mean, I know some people do that because they love it so much, but I just can't imagine wearing it outside of the beach environment or walking around with kind of that greasy, sticky feeling that it gives you. So I wanted to try Ozone for that very reason, to see how close it came to the type of coconut fragrance that I have been looking for. So the coconut here is very nice. Now it's not as creamy as I would normally like, because it seems to be more on the fresher side of things, possibly for a number of reasons. The lime, the mint, the ozonic notes, and these all sit on this subtle ambery sweetness. I think the best way to describe this is if you were familiar with Mr. Burberry Indigo. So you take the opening of that fragrance, because that's got the mint in it and everything, combine that with the Hawaiian Tropic suntan lotion, and you pretty much have Ozone. And even in Ozone, I still detect that very similar, very familiar ATH DNA running through this, just like with Slut and Blood Orange. Overall, this comes pretty dang close to what I've been looking for in a coconut fragrance, and I really look forward to wearing this a lot more before the summer ends. And finally, Neon, and I did save this one for last because it just happens to be my least favorite out of the four that I'm talking about today. And it's not that I don't like it, I don't hate it, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as the other three. It just seems like the more time that I spent with it, the less and less that I liked it, in fact, which is weird because normally it's the other way around. But Neon has a lot of the elements that I do enjoy. It's citrusy, it's fruity. What I found, however, is that as far as the citruses go, the lemon is really played up in this composition. At least on my skin, it just seems to demand a lot more attention. So for that reason, it kind of comes off like a household cleaner, not like Lemon Pledge or anything like that. But there is a particular product that I have used in the past, and the longer that I sniffed this, the more I began to realize that it smelled eerily similar to that particular product. Now I will say, as this one continues to dry down and it softens, some of those other notes kind of blossom. I smell a little bit more of the pineapple, which does make it better, but still for me it's kind of hard to get past that whole household cleaner smell. I mean, I've kind of got that in the brain now, and so it's really difficult to get around that. And because of that, I just don't know that I would reach for this one very often, if at all. I know a lot of people enjoy this one. This is, one of their favorites from the ATH brand, but it's just not for me. So there you go, folks. Those are my thoughts and opinions on these 4 fragrances: Slut, Blood Orange, Ozone, and Neon. As always, I invite your thoughts and opinions, so drop me some comments down below. Thank you for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. And until the next time, please stay safe, take care. I'll see you later.